Hi, I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to go from this to this using the Boss Katana Mark II. I've had a few comments in videos where people are asking about drive tones, and a few people are saying that the drive tones that they're getting out of the Katana are quite sort of fizzy, and what fizzy means is lots of treble, lots of presence. So what I'm going to do in today's video is to show you how I get a drive tone out of the Boss Katana, and hopefully then you can adapt that sound to your liking. I've said this loads of times in my Katana videos, but personally I think the clean channel is the best channel on the Katana, and it's the most versatile channel, and then you can layer the effects on that clean channel to get really any sort of sound you want. And I'll quickly demonstrate that. Here's the clean channel. Now, even with the gain about halfway, we're starting to get a little bit of drive out of it. Let's turn the gain up full. So the clean channel on the Katana isn't just for clean. You can get quite decent drive out of it, even without using any of the overdrive effects. The first thing I'm going to do is to bring the gain back, and we're going to have it about 60. Now you'll notice that I'm going to be using the controls on the Katana, but also I'm going to have the Boss Tone Studio up as well, just in case anyone prefers to do it using their computer. And there's certain parameters that we're going to be using a little bit later on that you can only get to by using the Boss Tone Studio for the Katana. So we're on the clean channel. Now with the Boss Katana Mark II, we get two variations. If I push the variation button here, again, you can do this on the software. The variation button is more mid-scooped, and when it's off, it's a little bit more mid-forward. Now this is a preference, but I tend to find you can get a little bit more gain out of it with the variation button in. Let's add a little bit of reverb. And just a little bit of delay as well. The next thing we're going to be looking at is the cab resonance button. Now you can either control this via the software here, or on some Katanas you actually get a control over here. So we'll start from the first setting, which is vintage. Modern. Now this is adding a lot more top end, and if I add the deep button, we're getting even more. So let's keep it on the modern setting for the moment. You'll notice so far that I haven't touched any of the EQ controls. Everything's on about sort of 12 o'clock. Right, let's have a look at the booster section. The boost pedal that I'd recommend starting with is the blues drive, because it can pretty much do everything from real sort of mild gain to actually really sort of full on distortion. Let's bring the drive back to start with, and let's bring it in. So hopefully, as you can hear, we've got more than enough gain than you'd ever need. Personally, I like to keep the gain between sort of 50 and 70. It sounds like this. Now, already for me, that's a really usable drive tone, but there's a couple of other things that we can do to it just to make it sort of fit in a mix a bit better. Now, personally, when I'm thinking about any sort of guitar tone, I'm thinking about a recorded tone. I'm thinking how it would fit in a mix. I'm not really interested in how great it sounds in a room. And then as soon as you start to add other instrumentation to that, the guitar sort of gets lost. So what I like to do is to get rid of the frequencies in the guitar tone, just so they're not going to interfere with other instruments, and also they're going to really help your guitar cut through the mix. Now with this, we have to use the Boss Katana Tone Studio software. I'm going to go into the system and we're going to be looking at the global EQ. Now if you listen to this guitar tone, it's a bit sort of flubby in the bottom end. So what I want to do is to low cut, and that means we're going to be removing some of the bottom or the very bottom frequencies. Now with the guitar tone, up to about say 120 Hertz, you're not really going to hear the difference. It's going to get rid of all of those sort of frequencies that the bass or the bass guitar is going to be taking up. So let's move the low cut up to about 100. And also what I want to do is to remove some of those low mid frequencies, some of the honky low mid frequencies that are also going to get in the way. So what I'm going to do is to turn the low mid Q up to about 8. The frequencies that I'm going to be looking at are going to be between 200 Hertz and 350 Hertz. So let's turn up the gain to about 8 dB. Now let's move the low mid frequency to find where that sort of honky frequency is. Now as you heard that sort of peak frequency, that's at 315 Hertz. So let's dip that back. We don't have to go far, about 6 dB. And now let's come out the global EQ. Now for me that's great. I've got this fairly sort of nondescript overdrive tone. But now I want to start to have a look at some of the EQ. Now the EQ on the Katana is really sensitive. So even if you just tweak these EQ controls, it does make a massive difference. So first of all, let's start with the presence. Now even by moving it up a tiny amount, that's made a massive difference. Right, let's turn the mids up a little bit. Give it a little bit of treble as well. And let's turn that reverb up just a little bit as well. So there is the tone that I was looking for. Now, if that's a little bit dark or a little bit bright for you, you can now use the cab resonance control to get the sort of sound you want out of it. So if I want it darker, I can move it over to the vintage setting. The modern in the middle. If I want more of that mid scoop sound. Or I can use the deep control for even more presence. Now, personally for me, I'm going to keep it on the modern control for this sort of sound. Anyway, I really hope you guys got something out of this. If you did get something out of it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Click on the bell button and you'll be notified of any future video that comes out from the Studio Rats. I'm Paul and I'll see you next time. Cheers.